brother.
Nicks and Bruises, we are back. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. I got my guys in the building. Got DJ Shuttle. Y'all already know what the slogan is.
All aboard.
And I got Ron from Still Knicks Fans in the building. The big homie. I call him the big homie because he's like 6'1", 2 at least. You know what I mean? What up, Ron? How are
like
you?
6'3", 6'4".
I'm chilling. I feel good, man. Hope y'all doing all right.
Doing good. I'm doing good. I gotta be honest, man. I was tuned in to your last show. You had Alan Hahn on. Great interview, by the way. So
Appreciate you.
shout out to you and kudos to you. I want to tell you or have you give the people a quick synopsis of what you went over without giving up too much, so they could go tune in. So I'll leave it at this. What was your biggest takeaway from your interview with him?
I mean, honestly, just when you, I don't want to sound corny, but I mean, the dude is a great guy. Like, I knew that before, but it's like we had him on the show before and we interviewed him, and he was dope then. But it's been over a year, like a year and a half since we last talked or whatever. And to talk to him again, he's the same dope dude. So nothing changes. Like, he's real. He's a real one.
That's what's up.
And if outside of that, Alan Hahn is a straight shooter, man. You know what I mean? We went over a lot of different things. He gave me good, candid answers about stuff, thoughtful answers. There weren't short answers. He took his time to explain what his thoughts were. And when I touched on a certain subject, he let me know, I don't know if that's the subject that really is what people might think it is. So I thought that was pretty dope of him. He kept it real all the way.
Yeah. Like I said, man, I was glued to the TV. I wish I was on my phone so I could have put some questions in to potentially get asked. But one of the things that he mentioned that really stood out to me, and it was I'm gonna tell you how he started to answer the question, and see if you remember what he said. He said, "You're probably not gonna believe me when I say this." Do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember what he said? Do you remember
I know
what he
what
said?
you're talking about. Yeah.
Let the people know what I'm talking about.
All right. So at towards the end of the show, I asked Alan Hahn a question that I know a lot of Knicks fans are curious about. Like, what would Tibbs do in this situation? Because we all say never and all this stuff, but I asked him. I said, "Do you think, with the talent that we got, and all, will Tibbs go to a 10-man rotation?" And he said no, right off the bat. But he was joking a little bit. What he did say when Tony's saying is, a lot of people may not believe it, but Tibbs wanted to go to a 10-man rotation this past year that passed. But the way things worked out, I guess he felt like he didn't trust that 10th person to be able to do it. But apparently he was willing to do it and wanted to do it.
Yeah. Shuttle, I'm gonna go to you right now. Well, what are your thoughts on when you hear that? Because you said you didn't see the show, so make sure you and the chat go check out Still Knicks Fans if y'all didn't see the interview, because this is all I'm covering for the interview. So go check it out and get it firsthand for yourself. But what are your thoughts on that with the 10-man rotation last year that Tibbs wanted that?
Hey, listen, I don't come from the school where like this is the NBA. This is not biddy league. There's no participation trophies. You feel me? Like, you play the players that give you the best chance to win. That's been his motto. He's been consistent with that message. He's given people a chance. Some people have had a little longer rope than others. As we were just talking offline, I was just telling you, Tony, we know what Tibbs is going to do. It's going to be like 20-ish games. He's going to give the lineup a chance. He's going to give the bench players a chance. And everybody's going to be able to prove that they deserve to be in the rotation. And if they don't deserve it, they don't play. And if they do, they will. Grimes earned his trust. He played. Deuce earned the trust. He played. Quickly as a rookie, earned the trust. He played. You know what I'm saying? So, now it's the best roster starting a season that he's had since he's been here. You've got a strong five. You've got a strong Hart. You've got a strong Dante off the bench. So you know those seven players are absolutely going to play. Obviously, Randall's not going to play 48 minutes. So, you know, Achiuwa might get some of those minutes there. He might get some minutes at center. So, you know, maybe the team acquires somebody. But based on this team with the lack of bigs, it's probably a 9-man rotation. And, you know, that just is what it is.
So, all right, I'm a transition and then I'm gonna jump back because not quite breaking news, but we just signed Precious back. I'm gonna get you guys' quick thoughts on that, and then we're gonna jump right back into my thoughts on this original conversation. Stay with Shuttle. What's your thoughts on re-signing Precious? How you feeling about it?
I feel like that he waived the clause and they bumped his salary at 6 million. So from a management perspective, it was done smart. So now at least you have his 6 million, Deuce's 5 million. So now if you need to trade for a center that's at 10, 11 million, now you can do it. So I feel like from a being 2 steps ahead perspective, it was a great move. From a, you know, what's he gonna do for the team playing this year? That's okay. You know, he thrived in his time for the most part. We know we're gonna get, you know, his offense is erratic. You know, he's like a big man RJ when it comes to missing layups. He's, you know, he's a little overconfident from deep, but he'll shoot it at least. You know, but he hustles and he plays good defense. So he's gonna always be in the Tibbs circle of trust based on that. And, you know, Randall's gonna need to come out some minutes. Sims might not be reliable enough to play at backup center, and you might have to put pressures in there depending on, you know, what Sims does. So, you got him to do what he's already done. So, you know, nothing amazing, but you know, at this point you had to make a move. Clearly they couldn't do or they weren't going to do anything bigger or better. So, you know, kudos to the management for setting up a next trade move.
Ron, you think he's more valuable to us as a trade asset at that $6.6 million? And Shuttle, not only it doesn't have to be Deuce. We still have trade exceptions that we can combine to get to 11 million or 10 million. So we could do that and Deuce and make it close to 15, 14 million as well. Do you think he's more valuable as the trade asset moving forward? Especially considering he waived the no trade clause, or do you think the move was predicated on us needing another body, whether you consider him a 5 or not? And I'm gonna deep dive into that later as well.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of both. I do think that I get a little worried about that, the value thing. Right now, he is a nice trade piece. He has good value, right? But then again, you also kind of wonder, how much value does he have since he was sitting out there? Now, maybe he wasn't taking any offers from anybody because he was trying to wait to see what the Knicks were going to do, but we don't know that. Maybe we don't know if there wasn't a lot of interest in him to begin with. Knicks paid him $6 million for 1 year. I mean, anybody could have came up with that type of money. So I'm just a little curious about that, but I still think he provides good value. The problem here is if the Knicks view him more as a trade asset rather than a player that can add value to them on the court, that could be an issue. Because we've already seen when we have guys that have value and there's no rotational spot for them, they sit on the bench, their value starts to go down. We saw it happen with Fournier. We saw it happen with other guys. Fournier is the biggest, you know what I mean? But I definitely think it's a good sign by him. It shows that he wants to be here, because to waive your no trade clause, and know that there's a possibility that could happen down the line, it says a lot.
Well,
But
to waive the trade clause is acknowledging that you might not be here.
right, exactly.
Yeah, you know what I mean? As much as you want to.
And the no trade clause getting waived likely was a requirement to get you at the 6 million, because without there being a huge market for you, you're getting the vet minimum. So basically, we doubled your salary. Well, to do that, you got to give us some flexibility, and you got to play ball. And I think two things can both be true, though, Ron. I think that he can. I think that he can be more valuable as a trade asset, because I think this team really needs to upgrade at center. But I think he could still, in the interim, provide value, and I think he absolutely is in the rotation.
Right. And that's I would agree with that. That's my whole thing. Like the Knicks have to use him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
I don't think it's going to be a point situation where he's on the bench.
Yeah. But saying that, just real quick, we do got Keita Bates-Diop, and we've been talking highly about him and his defense, and his ability to knock down the three. I mean, his percentage ain't that much higher, than Precious, but he takes more of them, and he could probably hit them. So that's interesting to see how they're gonna, what's gonna happen with him. Because if I'm the Knicks, I'm using Precious, because Precious knows the system. We could already depend on him. He's had some great games for us, so that's me. But who knows? Yeah, it's on my fault.
No. You actually changed my whole train of thought for a second, because I'm not familiar with that guy you just mentioned.
I think he's more. I think he's more of a four in a pinch, but I think he's really more of a small forward. So
okay.
So I don't really think that Precious Achiuwa minutes are affected much by this guy. I think this guy is going to be one of them guys that is going to rack up the DMPs, and only when OG gets hurt, or if Pacome doesn't show he's ready, does this guy really even get minutes, to be honest with you. Not because he doesn't have a little bit of game, but right now we got Wingstop.
Right.
We got Wingstop. So
right.
You know what I mean? So it just ate a lot of minutes there. Hart's gonna be playing on the wing ahead of him. And at the small forward spot, it's gonna be hard to get minutes, because I like to believe Bridges is gonna go out, OG's gonna stay in. OG's gonna go out, Bridges is gonna stay in. So it's not gonna be really much Diop minutes. And I think Hart's gonna get the power forward minutes before Diop. So only when Randall or OG or one of these guys are out will Diop get any minutes, I think.
So it sounds like you have some familiarity with him. I was actually going to ask Ron. Initially it sounded like you have some familiarity. I haven't done any research on Diop. All I know is Tibbs kind of drafted him, so that in a sense is a plus. That Tibbs, you know what I mean? He already got Tibbs' stamp of approval, but as a player and what he does, what he's good at, I'm not really familiar with. What do you think of what Shuttle said? You think he's more of a three as well? I only looked at his size. And
I would agree. I would agree with what Shuttle said. He's more, to me, he's a little bit more of a three. He's got the size to be able to play, and he's got athleticism to play the four.
Okay,
he's a pretty damn good defender, but physicality wise, he don't have that, and he's not a great rebounder either.
I gotta do my research on him for sure. He's the one guy that I haven't even looked into, other than reading a couple of articles or posts or whatever.
Yeah, he's a bucket. He's a bucket getter. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's the guy you can put in, and he's like, and out of nowhere, like, he doesn't play. Then they put him in because of some injuries, and then he goes out there and scores 24 points. You're like, yo, who's this guy? Why isn't he playing more? Like, he's definitely that guy. But like Teron's point, like, small power forward, he doesn't really get boards. He's not really a shot blocker. I mean, he has some athleticism to defend. Let's say like somebody like a Kevin Durant, right? He's got the length and the body frame to go up against somebody like that. But
defensively,
Yeah, yeah, right on defense, but you're not putting him in against like a Jared Jackson or a Joker or an Embiid or like he's way overmatched.
Yeah. Again, I got to do my research. That's one assignment I have not, touched on yet. But it's interesting. I always thought it was interesting that Tibbs drafted him, and he's played under Tibbs before. So when everybody automatically assumes guys are throwing, Precious Achiuwa, you know what I mean? This guy, I kind of try to look and see if there's anything behind it. Maybe he wasn't,
Right.
or maybe it was a request as a throw-in. You know what I
Right.
mean? Not just the other team trying to give him up, but the Knicks actually inquiring about
Yeah, yeah,
them.
put him in there.
Yeah.
Y'all want
um
5 picks? We need him.
but everything you guys you guys gave me a lot of insight. And then again, I go back to that Alan Hahn interview and him saying Tibbs wanting to play 10 guys. And the point of this whole show is like, Tibbs got this extension, and we made the trade for McCall. You know what I mean? We re-signed OG. Things are looking great. The only question mark was that center position and losing iHeart, which wasn't a blunder of the Knicks. They literally there was nothing they could do. Now we re-signed Precious. Does Tibbs' job get easier or does it get harder? And for the most part, everybody's gonna be like, just listening, answering quick. Oh, it's easier. How could it not be easier? He got all these guys, but that 10-man rotation, that's intriguing, because when I thought of this question, I'm thinking Tibbs likes to play 8. That's what we've seen historically over his tenure here. So I'm thinking, where are the minutes coming from? Even if he plays 10, where are the minutes distributions coming from? And so that's a decision he's gonna have to figure out. Tibbs he's a defensive coach. He likes to defend the rim. He likes offensive rebounds or rebounding in general. His bigs don't usually play out on a perimeter. They like to play back rather than play up. We really got one big, Mitchell Robinson. He doesn't typically play a small ball. We've been asked as fans. We've been asking for small ball, since he's been here. Since we drafted Obi, we wanted to see a look of Obi and Randall together. We wanted to. Now you can argue he didn't have the Randall and Obi didn't fit. I think now we have guys that do fit that, but does Tibbs adjust there and play more small ball lineup with OG at the 5 or OG at the 4, Randall at the 5, or OG at the 5 and Precious at the 4. You know what I mean? Like, these are all adjustments and things that typically Tibbs does not do or is not his preference. But not only by necessity, I think we're going to see it more. My question, by necessity, we will see it more. But how much of that is Tibbs adjusting? You know what I mean? Tibbs going against what he likes. The good thing is all these guys have kind of earned Tibbs' trust.
Mm-hmm.
Precious, he didn't really get big minutes until Randall went down. Everything before Randall went down was spot minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes,
No
maybe
minutes.
12, maybe 12 minutes, no minutes. You know what I mean? And his performance really wasn't that good. And to me, I contribute that to being in spot minutes. It's hard to get a rhythm.
Right.
You know what I mean? When he got definitive minutes, Precious was awesome. Per 36 was very similar to iHeart. He didn't play 36, obviously, but the per 36 was very similar. So again, has Thibodeau's job gotten easier or gotten harder? I don't even know if I got an answer yet. I'm curious to know what you guys think.
Well,
And that's what I wanted to ask Alan Hahn. If you know what I mean, if I would have switched to my phone and not just been glued to the TV, watching it on TV, but you know, what do you think?
I think his job. You know, it's tough because I don't think his job got harder, right? I think what he experienced last year was a lot. You know, having to bring in OG Anunoby, right? Another player that needs to be out there on the floor as much as possible, and then juggle that with, you know, Julius and Dante and Jalen, and just figuring out how everybody fits. And then what are you going to do about your bench? How do you stagger guys to? I think that was a test for him. And then watching everybody go down. So that's why I think nothing that he deals with this year is going to be as tough as what he had to face last year with having all these guys hurt on your playoff run. So I think he's probably well prepared in that aspect. Now, where I do think it might be tough for him is the fact that this team is built to win, and he has to coach these games with everything he's learned in recent times. You know, he can't revert back to old Tibbs and get into the poor habits of not making the right adjustments or not switching up the rotations. He did a really good job last year of monitoring these rotations, trying different things. And
Can I
this is kind
retort?
of go ahead.
I should have included this in my rant. Because it sounds like you think it was hard for him last year, and to
I
me,
think when everybody went down, I think it was hard. Yeah, but
to
that's
me,
me.
to me, I feel like all the circumstances made things easier for him. He had less decisions to make. Everything was made out of necessity.
Right. This yeah, I got you.
You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't a decision of playing this guy over this guy, or playing this guy this amount of minutes,
He had no choice.
or playing 10 men compared to 8. Like
Right.
he really had no choice. So to me,
Yeah.
like, he made the best of every circumstance he was given, but it wasn't a choice. You know what I mean? Now it comes down to really choosing these decisions, making these decisions, making these adjustments. And again, I'm a big Thibodeau fan. You know what I mean? I've always disliked the guys who was on the fire Tibbs train, but this is just something. Again, watching your interview, these are some of the things that was popping up in my head. Like, oh wow, he did want to play 10. I've always had the mindset he wanted to play 8. If he wants to play 10, okay, that's not a hard decision. But the decision now comes to a minute distribution. I mean, once you find your 10, you got to find your 10 first, because we don't. I mean, we got Campaign here, who's a veteran compared to the rookie Tyler. You touched on this. We ain't gonna talk about your interview, but we don't usually think Tibbs is gonna play a rookie. You know what I mean? Or give a rookie a spot. Like that's the rumors out there, right? He's over.
Yeah.
He's the backup point guard. So again, I mean, if that's coming from Tibbs and that's a Tibbs decision, it sounds like he's already making these adjustments and these decisions early, which is great. You know what I mean? But again, I just wanted to retort real quick, because it sounded like you thought it was easier. For me, I come from a different. I think it was hard. I think it was easier last year rather than harder. And this is why my question today is: does it become harder? So under that perspective, or does that change anything that you were saying?
No, it definitely, yeah. It makes me look at it a little differently, because I see where you're coming from. And so for that, then I agree with you in that sense. But I also think part of it too is Tibbs learning, right? So I think last year was very important in the maturation of it's crazy, the maturation of a coach who's been coaching for years and won Coach of the Year twice. But I really think last year was very important for him to, even before everybody started to get hurt, understanding how to switch up the rotations. And, you know, Tibbs did a lot. What I was trying to say before is he did a lot of really good adjustments. There was moments in the past. So we've been watching this Knicks team where we like, there's no adjustments. Tibbs ain't doing anything. You got guys on the bench. We're getting. He made some really good adjustments in certain games, like the Philadelphia game. We all talked about how he made some really good rotations, and everything he was doing in one of these Philadelphia games was. And I'm not talking the playoffs. I was really referring to the regular season. But he did some really nice moves, and he kind of looked like he was getting into his bag last year of learning how to do this more. So I feel like that's to me, it's hard because it's an adjustment period, doing something that he's not as comfortable doing and learning how to be comfortable with it. This year, I think it's going to be easier because he's already done some experimenting with things, and he's done small ball lineups more, and I feel like he'll be a little bit more comfortable. But you are right. The understanding the minutes and figuring out who gets what is going to be tricky. He's going to have a little bit of a juggling act. But honestly, and in my mind, I kind of think that's not going to be that big of a deal either. Some guys are like, man, I get to play 10 minutes instead of sitting on the bench not playing at all. I'll take the 10 minutes. So,
I think it's easier to just double down on what Ron was just saying, right? Mitch went out. Mitch came back. You could have said, we're gonna mess things up, and we're gonna put Mitch back in the starting lineup instead of keeping Iheart. He made that tough decision. He started the season with Grimes, and he put Dante in that starting lineup after his 20 game evaluation that we know he typically does. He gave Quickly the confidence to, still do what he do before he was traded. He sat RJ when RJ needed to be, put on the pine. So, he preserved Hart early and exhausted him late when he needed him most. So I think now coming with OG from the beginning of the season, with Macau from the beginning of the season, hopefully a healthy Mitch, that the starting five is so strong. This whole thing about minutes distribution ain't really nothing for me to worry about, because you know what? My starting five is going to be playing. You know what I mean? Maybe I've been saying OG gets some Kawhi-like treatment, and that's cool because you got Bridges who can be an Iron Man, and he can play 40 minutes a game without an issue. And you can put Dante in, and Dante's kind of really balancing out OG's minutes where OG doesn't really play as much. So I think, Dante still probably gets his 20-ish minutes. I think Hart's minutes really aren't really that much to worry about. When they need him to play a lot, he plays a lot. You don't need him to play a lot, he won't play a lot. And it's gonna be cool like that. Like he's a low maintenance guy. You know what I mean? He's not a diva. After that, everybody else on the bench, y'all get whatever y'all get. So there is no minutes distribution to worry about. You understand what I'm talking about, Ron? Yeah, it ain't nothing to worry about. Deuce, you back to where you was when Quickly was here. Ron, I've been saying this. I don't know if you heard me.
There might be some truth there.
I've been saying this. You back to where you was when Quickly was here, respectfully, because I like Deuce. I love Deuce. He's great, but I don't think that's no problem for Tibbs. Like, yo, all right, Deuce, yo, you did your thing. Training camp. Let's see what you got. But we got a veteran in here, and we got a rookie that can get the offense moving and shaking. So your leash is short, Deuce. In fact, go out there and get busy so we got some trade value, because we got some guys in here that can play. And respectfully, we can move on. And I'm not
the reason I can't argue with that is all that is proven in history, right? Tibbs don't got a problem sitting Derrick Rose, who's his man. Kemba Walker, who's on the, you know what I mean? Evan Fournier, who's making whatever amount of money.
Everybody can get it. Everybody can get
it. I definitely, but again, I'm thinking of it, is Tibbs adjusting, or if is he staying pat? Is he, you know what I mean? Is he riding with his philosophy?
What's his philosophy though? I don't understand this thing that Tibbs' philosophy is to only play 8 guys. I think that the team collectively has not had more than 9 players worthy of really, or 4 players off the bench really worthy of these minutes that they have to play.
Has
Like
that
this,
changed?
who?
Has that changed with this current roster or no?
No,
Because
no,
because
no, no.
I
It
mean,
has
there's an argument that
you have two absolute players that must and will play. That's Dante and
and
that's
Hart.
Josh Hart. Deuce to a lesser degree, but you've got Deuce slash Cam slash Kolek. So those three guys are going to play, but Brunson's going to play 33, 34, 35 minutes. So they're only getting 10 minutes anyway, whoever they are, whoever it is. You're only getting 10 minutes. Randall can't play 48 minutes. So Josh Hart's going to probably get some of that. And they're going to rotate. This is my
Between Josh Hart, between
no,
OG.
no, it's going to be between OG, Bridges, and Dante. That's going to be the triangle offense right there. OG comes out, Dante goes in.
Oh no,
Bridges,
I was thinking position wise.
right, but I'm saying, and see, and I think that's the mistake that some people make. It's not like let's not lock people in like it's a position thing like that. You got a great triangle. OG comes out, Dante comes in, Bridges is playing the three. Bridges plays probably to the whole first quarter, maybe a little bit into the second. He comes out. Now OG goes back in. And then that's how you're rotating your small forward shooting guard lineup with those three players. So you don't need two backups for those positions. You only need one. And
No,
Josh Hart is going to come in most likely on the 4, and now you got Precious slash Sims on the 5.
I agree 100%. But by necessity, now it leads to more small ball lineup than we've ever seen Tibbs play. You know what I mean?
Right.
And again, it's by there's no choice. You know what I mean? We don't have another 7-footer on this roster other than Mitchell Robinson. So now it becomes, Precious, whether it's Precious at the 5 or OG at the 5. You know what I mean? Like OG's position is 3, 4, 5 now. You know what I mean? Precious position is 4, 5. Like that's the beauty of it. It's not a problem because we have the roster to do it. But ultimately, it comes down to a lot more small ball than we've ever seen from Tibbs. So to me, and this was going to be one of my questions later, like what's Tibbs' biggest adjustment moving forward? And to me, it has to be playing more small ball lineup, whether it's Randall and OG, Precious and OG, you know what I mean? Because everybody has the opportunity to play up or down on this roster other than our main guy, Brunson. You know what I mean? Like he's stuck at that one spot. But everybody else, to one extent or another, is able to play up a position or down a position. So we have the roster to do it. Does Tibbs actually do it? You know what I mean? Like and I don't know. Like go ahead.
I'm thinking, yeah, I actually think once again, I go back to this past year being a learning lesson, for a lot that's gone on with this Knick team. Like when it comes to playing guys, like you were saying, like, hey, Tibbs had no choice. He had to play the guys he had to play. But because he had to play these guys, he had to play guys out of position. He had to play guys heavy minutes. So he messed around with some really small lineups. I think he should have no problem juggling small lineups, the biggest lineup he could possibly come up with the diversity that he has with this team and the talent he's got. I think he should feel a lot more comfortable doing it this time around. And the interchangeable stuff that Shuttle was talking about. I mean, he outside of not having a backup center, this team's got everything you could ask for. So I think Tibbs is sitting in a good seat in regards to that. It just all comes to finding the sweet spot of, outside of your starting unit, what other rotations are like money rotations that you like to use and that are effective out there consistently. But other than that, I think he's got like a board. It's like boom, boom, boom. Let's do this. He can do it whatever he wants.
And he has no option. So it's the same thing last year when the players went down and you didn't have an option. Now you just don't have the players, so you
Right.
have no option. Like, yo, Precious Achiuwa, Sims, like take your pick, alley oop it, put whoever in that you feel like putting in. It's not. I'm not feeling much of a difference on either one of these guys. You know,
Mhm.
you just hope that Mitch can stay healthy and is not out. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that he's playing maybe 30 minutes a game and these guys are coming in for 16, 18 minutes a game. Some teams you can play Randall at the 5 for a couple of minutes, maybe close out a couple of games when you're playing centers that aren't really, big league, big time centers. And I just think that's just gonna be, you know, like to Ron's point, like, you played against Philly and you had OG playing against the center, not for a long time, but man, if he could do it against Embiid for a handful of minutes, well, he could do it against Miles Turner for a couple of minutes to close out a game. And
I just referenced that earlier on MBK.
oh, I missed that, but
But no,
great minds thing in the light.
it's spot on. Another thing I mentioned on Sim's show, I'm gonna read it again. So it says Anunoby and Achiuwa have played 201 minutes together since arriving in New York. The Knicks are outscoring opponents by 28.8 points per 100 possessions with those two on the floor. That's 18 points better than any other two or any other person combined with Precious. And they're holding teams to 90 points per 100 possessions with Achiuwa and OG on the floor together. So I mean, to your point, Shuttle, in those situations, you know what I mean. Depending on who's on the floor, OG can guard up, right? If it's an Embiid, you don't got to put Precious on Embiid, and he can be the wing defender. You know what I mean? And then if it's a smaller guy, and the same holds true to me. I don't have the defensive numbers to match it. But the same holds true with Randall. You know what I mean? If we're playing a small ball with Randall in it, Randall doesn't have to guard the 5. You know what I mean? Precious can guard the 5. If he's capable of doing it against Embiid, you know what I mean? I'm not really worried about any other center out there. He's one of the biggest. He's definitely one of the best. Arguably only one other center better than him out there. So we do have the personnel to pull it off. And I mean, I agree with you guys. I'm not arguing that Tibbs is not going to make these adjustments, and I think you're making a good point of what he's went through last year. I just felt like last year it wasn't by choice. You know what I mean? So hopefully him being forced to run with these lineups, you know what I mean, opened his eyes. And took Tibbs credit. He's mentioned this in the past. You know what I mean, you could go down to Obi Toppin ending the year. You know what I mean? That one year when Randall went down and him and we didn't make the playoffs. You know what I mean? He went with the young guys down the stretch, and him admitting, "Oh, I should have played Obi a little bit more." You know what I mean? Like, so sometimes you gotta be forced to do something to see it in action to kind of realize what it could do and how it could help.
It also has to work though.
Yes, absolutely. It does. Yeah, because you could see it and then be solidified in your original thought and say,
right, because that the Knick team, when we lost all those guys, when we had 4 guys out, we could have folded, but they kept going into the playoffs, into the second round. So it showed you how good the guys were, but it could have went the opposite way.
Yeah, and to no fault of you know what I mean, the coaching. You know what I mean, like all credit to the players staying ready. You know what I mean, stepping up. Like that's been a mentality all year long, from Quentin Grimes to anybody. Like Deuce didn't get his opportunity till quickly RJ was traded. Precious didn't really get his opportunity till Randall went down. We would still have iHeart right now if Mitch never went down, because his usage would not have been would not have been the same. You know what I mean? Like all these guys stepped up when they needed to, and yeah, Tibbs gotta recognize it and react to it.
Oh, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Appreciate you, Rome Fall Rock, and thank you, Danny Landis, for the love. Yeah, appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir. I mean, they speaking facts, man. That was a great interview, man. Great
Thank you, man.
interview.
Appreciate it.
Uh, uh, uh,
I don't want to hijack your show because I don't know if this was part of your agenda. Um, were you going to talk about Kolek at all?
Nah, the floor. Go ahead.
Okay,
What you want?
so the other thing that I was thinking about that I think was interesting. I mean, we all saw what Kolek looked like, but I think the Nick organization likes Kolek a lot more than we think they like Kolek. And so I think Kolek is going to get that. He's by default, he won't, because we got so much talent on this team now that it's almost impossible because there's bodies. OG's here, Mikal Bridges is here. But if it wasn't for the fact that we got these other guys that have to be out there playing, Kolek would get the Emmanuel Quickly treatment out the gate. He wouldn't be that rookie that's got to wait to get 40 seconds out there. Kolek would be getting minutes. So I still think he's going to get minutes. I just think just not enough minutes to give him because we got other talent. But I definitely think he's more of the IQ style.
I think he's going to get the opportunity to take it.
Right.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not disagreeing with you. As soon as I heard, oh, he signed the biggest contract for a second.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second, that's kind of weird. Like,
right.
I don't think that was just because it wasn't enough money to say, oh, this is going to be the difference maker if we're including him in the trade. You know what I mean? Like that. You know what I mean? It wasn't that kind of to me. That was them showing how much they value him and locking him up. Now, granted, maybe a extra 500,000. Maybe that is the difference in matching salaries in a particular trade. But I'm like, that's too specific for that to be the reason why they did it. So that opened my eyes off jump. I think, and that was announced before Summer League. So I think Summer League only solidified things. You're talking about a man who was averaging 7 assists. You know what I mean? And the turnovers was low. The last 2 games, 14 assists, no turnovers. It took I think two games or at least a game and a half before he even had 1 turnover. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's gonna get his fair shot. It's his to either get or lose, earn or lose. You know what I mean? Like, I'll say that. But I think he'll get his definitely fair shot, and if he produces from jump after 20 games, right, Shadow, after 20 games, oh, you muted.
I'm let me just quote myself. You should know how Tibbs does. 20-ish games and the tweaking begins. It's about that time I expect Kolek starts to get some minutes if he hasn't already.
No doubt.
New York Knicks Facebook page. DJ Shuttle. Kolek's good. I was on the Kolek train all aboard before the draft. He was my pick for the Knicks before the draft.
Where'd you have him?
I had him
first round or second round?
First round.
I
First round. And I actually I prayed that the Suns didn't take him because the Suns needed a point guard really, really bad. He would have been an amazing fit on the Suns. An amazing fit for the Suns. He's passing first. Booker, Beal, KD, they all need the ball. This guy's a perfect fit for those guys. He knows I get it to them open, would like to catch it. Come on. Like, what's better than a point guard that knows how to do that?
I knew the answer. I just wanted you to let the people know that that's how high you was on him. You wanted him in the first round because we had the 2 first round picks.
He was like all the pre-draft stuff had him with a first round grade. But just like our own Brunson, when you don't have certain measurables on the combines, your value goes down. And New York Knicks were able to be a benefactor of this lack of scouting and just depending on measurables, because the one measurable you can't truly measure is
IQ.
what is the IQ of the game. Like you can't measure that. And there's so many players that come into the league now that the IQ is just subpar. Like it's like when you say like a kid's in high school and you say, oh, like he reads on a fifth grade level, but he's a junior in high school, right? Like I look at players the same way. It's like, well, yeah, well, you're in the NBA, but you play on the middle, you play with a middle school ball player's IQ. You know what I'm saying? Like
AAU mentality.
this guy plays with the IQ of an NBA veteran. And he's 23, so he's seasoned. He's not like you bringing in an 18, 19-year-old guy. And I don't know, man. I just like I can love a player but not get attached. That's just my thing. Like I love Deuce. Like Deuce is what you want in terms of a player. But listen, you got a vet, you got Cam. I didn't think they were gonna get a vet, which is why I was really pulling for Kolek. So they got Kolek. I'm like, all right, cool. So you can keep Deuce as the backup, and you could bring Kolek in slowly. If Deuce is not, JB needs a game or two off. Kolek can show his value slowly but surely. But now, you got Cam and you got Kolek. You got Bridges. You got Dante coming off the bench. The guard lineup is loaded for Deuce to get minutes. And Deuce.
So you think Deuce is the odd man out between Cam, Kolek, and
if I'm coaching the team, Deuce is the odd man out. I'll just put it that way. Now what will Tibbs do? I think he's gonna give Deuce a little bit of benefit of doubt because he's in a circle of trust. Like he's been a steady, dependable guy that is low maintenance. So he's gonna get his shot to earn it, but he's just a better shooting guard than point guard. And that's just the bottom line of it.
Real quick, what's your thoughts on this comment? Shout out to Nostalgic Nick. Bagley already said they view Deuce as an off guard.
Sound like he's saying everything I'm saying.
Third string. I mean, that moves the third string automatically.
And that's the message I sent you like 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Deuce
right.
He's back to pre-quickly RJ trade. That's where he is. And I'm telling you, the Knicks is smart. Just like they gave Precious Achiuwa this bigger deal he didn't really need, they gave Deuce that money before he truly, really earned it to have him at a higher salary so they could be 2 steps ahead if and when they needed to trade him. He wasn't at
contracts.
Yeah, he wasn't at 1.3 or 1.4 or 5 million, whatever he was at. Instead, let's bump him up. He barely played. He didn't. It wasn't like he played and earned that contract. He's supposed to get that money after he finished the season the way he finished it. But they gave it to him earlier.
Yeah, as soon as that trade went down.
Yeah.
And again, shout out to the front office, man. They really know what they're doing.
Ron, I'm watching the moves.
You put Cam ahead of Kolek or Kolek ahead of Cam? Do you think Cam's experience automatically gives him that initial nudge over Kolek, or how do you see that? Or I mean, obviously Bagley already he came out and corrected himself. You know what I mean? He said Cam is gonna get minutes, and they came out and gave a what do they call it? Where they
report? No, not.
He came out.
Word.
Yeah, I forgot the word too.
A rebuttal, like it was like not a rebuttal. It was a rebuttal, but
you know the word
I'm looking for. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, he came back and you know what I mean, fixed up his work and said, you know what I mean, Kolek is ahead of Cam.
Right.
You guys, how you guys view that? I mean, I don't think he made it up. So, what are your thoughts on that?
No, I think so. I think Deuce what Shuttle was saying. I understand where Shuttle was going, but I also understand that Shuttle understands that how Tibbs works and that Deuce is in the circle of trust. I think Deuce is a Tibbs guy. We know that. We all talk about Tibbs guys, and Deuce is a Tibbs guy, and Deuce is a guy who's been here long enough that he's earned being a Tibbs guy. Like other guys were Tibbs guys. We thought Grimes was a Tibbs guy, but he slowly started to fall off, and then we saw a different side of Grimes. But Deuce has remained solid. You know what I mean? And he stepped up big time in the playoffs. So I think. I think Cam is kind of the odd man out, to be honest with you. Not because of his stature. He's been a starting point guard in this league. He definitely deserves it. I just think that Tibbs is going to want to see him in Tibbs' system. You know what I mean? Practices, preseason, and he'll judge from there. But if he doesn't like the thing with Cam is a newcomer. So if he doesn't like something, it could be the smallest thing that he's not feeling about Cam, and already Cam is down on the pecking order. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. And I do think Kolek is going to get the first shot.
Does the veteran? So you think? Because I was going to say, does his veteran leadership or veteran having experience, does that give him a notch over Kolek, or is it really?
Only because I don't think it matters right now. We're going into a new season. You can feel it's a feeling out process, right? He's going to want to see what this team is.
Even playing field, or you think Kolek got the notch?
No, I think it's Kolek's job to lose. Like like he goes out there and he doesn't do what they expect him to do, then he did it to himself. But I think they're giving him the keys to be the backup guy. We've seen enough of you to know how impactful you are as far as helping us with our stagnation, because that's the other thing about the Knicks. Everything we saw, how good they played, we saw throughout the whole year. There was moments where that second unit was stagnant. There was no ball movement. Even sometimes with the starters, there wasn't a lot of ball movement. So having a guy like Kolek that is a pass first, a good creator, facilitator, he's valuable. He's just got to show that he's valuable.
Honestly, that was damn near all the year, all of the year. I mean, how often did we hear about strictly non-Brunson minutes? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and a lot of the time, and I think Alan Hahn mentioned this or touched on it, but a lot of the times, to no fault of Deuce, he was the odd man out because they needed to get Brunson back in to fix what was going on. Deuce might have been playing fine, great, you know what I mean? But if the second unit wasn't playing well, or that unit wasn't playing well, he was the guy getting pulled, you know what I mean, in place of Brunson to fix to right the ship. Right. Even though he may not have been the guy that you know what I mean, it might not have been his fault as far as what was going bad.
Oh, so and can I just say one more quick thing about Kolek? We all see it, right? It was kind of evident in the summer league. His defense is a little suspect, right? But I will say, if there's anybody on this team that has a little bit of a longer leash on defense, it's Kolek, because of the fact of how special he is with the ball in his hands and how he can make things happen. And if you give him a good look and some repetition, he knocks down them shots too. So I think he's gonna have a longer leash with regards to his defense, because quite frankly, the Knicks are a much better defensive team anyway. It's not like this is Knicks 3 years ago when we searching for answers. Who's going to play defense? This Knicks team. We got some good defenders, so they can make up for what he's lacking out there.
Not just that. His biggest strength is going to keep him on the floor. If you think about everybody that's gotten a shot under Tibbs, right? Whether it's Deuce, whether it's Grimes, you name whoever you want. What was the main thing that got them pulled? What was the main thing that got them, you know what I mean? All right, we got your shot. Nope. Now you got to sit. It was always turnovers.
Yeah.
It was always turnovers. It was never bad shooting. You know what I mean?
Or like, missing assignments too. Like if you don't go where Tibbs wants you to go.
Yeah. But for the defensively, for sure, missing assignments.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it was turnovers. You know what I mean? Like, and Kolek doesn't turn the ball over. You know what I mean? So I think that gives him hit. You know what I mean? That gives him one less thing to worry about being pulled for. You know what I mean? So if the things you do well, you continue to do, yeah, you may be able to get some minutes. And like you said, Ron, he's surrounded by plus defenders, whether it's DiVincenzo, whether it's Hart, whether it's McCall, whether it's OG. Like these guys, you know what I mean, are going to be able to cover some mistakes or give them some leeway to you know what I mean, to cheat a little bit.
Yeah, and to your question, Tone, I think that you have the you have one of the guys in the comments. I think it's East Coast Drew. It was. I think he says it. I think he said it best, and that's how I see it. I think campaign ultimately is break glass in case of emergency. That's the phrase I've been using. And same thing. I was down to bring Kyle Lowry in for the same role. We don't really even need you to play, right? You know what I'm saying? Like if Brunson sits out a game, all right, cool. You can play 10, 15 minutes on those games when he's sitting if we need you. But right now, I don't think that Kolek is going to flunder. I don't think he's gonna flop. And when you consider campaigns on a 1-year contract and he's already 30 years old, he's on standby if you need him. You got Kolek on a 4-year deal. You want him to be the long-term backup. You want him to win the starting the backup point guard job. You want him to win it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's where campaign is at.
I feel you, Ron. I haven't had you on for a while since I've been back, so I'm gonna rapid fire you a couple of questions um and get your take. First, I've been doing some nickname series. We got through Tyler, the Creator, Kolek. We'll start with him. What's your thoughts on that? You rocking with it, or we gotta find something else? I did a little poll too, so you know what I mean. He hasn't earned it yet? Was one of the options, or you rocking with it, or you muted? But I could tell
My
what
fault.
you said.
I got some noise in the background. No. I'm rocking with that. Tyler the Creator sounds like him. And you gonna spell it with a K?
With a K.
I'm rocking with it. I'm
sure.
rocking with it. Yeah,
All
that's
right.
him. That's who he is.
We got Wingstop, which is a OG and McCall duo. You know what I mean? We stole the Wingstop logo and everything. You
Okay. I like that. I mean, listen, a lot of people are already trying to rock with that. I want to let you know. There's a lot of people.
listen, I ain't created. I stole it. I saw it and I said, yes, this is. I gave it my stamp. But,
it's perfect.
You know what I mean?
That's the reason why so many people want to use it. It's perfect. Yes, I'm rocking with that. Yes,
No doubt.
yes.
No doubt. It's a work in progress. This was about 50-50. I think it was 45-45. And but title tips, after we got the extension, you know what I mean? And yes, this one I did create, but you know what I mean? Fans are not sure. Some people say he gotta get us there first. You know what I mean? Some people
Yeah,
like, yes,
I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna hold off on this one. He got to show me. We got to make it to the finals first before I even want to kind of even say he's that guy. I got to see it.
No
but
doubt.
I like it. It works. It's a nice name going forward. He should strive for that.
Okay. Let's see. What's your thoughts on just the summer league and other than Tyler? Because I think that's the consensus. But what are your thoughts on? And again, you asked Alan Hahn. I'm asking you. You know, we didn't see the one kid, but what are your thoughts on the two guys we did see? And I ain't gonna lie, I was mad at you because you started to ask him about Ariel, and then you got sidetracked and you never went back to it. So we didn't get.
Alan he did speak on him a little bit, but we didn't get a chance to really I didn't get a chance to dive into it a little bit more with him because he actually Ariel impressed me. But continue. My fault.
No. All right, so let's start with Ariel, and then we'll go to the Frenchman.
Yeah, I think Ariel is so it's interesting. The only thing I need to see from him is can he play big, right? Because remember, I mean,
Summer
summer
league.
league is summer league. You know, these guys they like college bodies. You know what I mean? Like there's some big boys, but it's a little different. So right now, to me, Ariel Hukporti looks like a perfect power forward, right? Just the way his game is
Mm.
styled, the way he plays. Now, can he continue to be that way at the center spot, going against bigger bodies? And I know he's a little different because he's a professional in the Australian league. So you would think, and European leagues, these guys are bigger and they play tougher when it comes to that. So I think he should be fine. I just want to see how it translates if the Knicks are able to give him any minutes, if he's someone that they consider having him as a piece they might use. Because I think if I was the Knicks, I'd look at Ariel Hukporti like Taj Gibson, right? He'll be my Taj Gibson. Give him Taj Gibson minutes that you would have Tibbs. That's how you use him, and he will give you much more than Taj can give you at this advanced age, right? But I like Hukporti for what I've seen, so far. He's got double written all over him. He's got a good style of game to him. And he's got some aggression too. I think he gets more aggressive when he gets more comfortable. Because as we got later in the summer league, you started to see him, kind of flexing his muscles a little bit. So I like that.
And
So he's solid.
he fits the mold with the wingspan, undersized but has the wingspan. Do you know what does he play the 4 or does he play the 5?
No, he plays the 5.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
I know you
I
were
just
saying in the NBA for
yeah, and the
more of a
NBA
got
where
you.
guys are it just but
and I agree. Like I want to see it too. I get
Mhm.
the competition in summer league. It's not really comparable to be like, oh, he could play the 5.
Right.
But yeah, I was impressed with him too, man. Rim run, you know what I mean? Looked like he got good leaping ability. You know what I mean? He doesn't attack the rim soft, like he really attacks the rim when he's going to the rim. So yeah, I think he's worth, you know what I mean, whether it's a 2-way or just some invite to the preseason. You know what I'm trying to say. I'm losing my train of thought. But yeah, I like him as well. What do you think, Shuttle?
Yeah, I think that looking at the team before Precious was picked up, when we talked about it,
He was the
we were saying, well, do we see Ariel or Dimitro as potential call ups to the big team? And I said, yeah, hopefully they make a move. But if I had to pick from one of the two, I would pick Ariel. He just seems like Dimitro. I know like he may seem a little bit more skilled offensively, but
physicality.
I think Ariel has more of the agility, athleticism, and pace of the game that he can keep up, to the, whether it's, jumping the quick jumps on rebounds, shot blocking, running the length of the court, getting back on defense, hustling back. I just, those are the type of things I see impressing Tibbs more. But with the return of Precious, I think that he's gonna likely be starting the team on the G League anyway. So, regardless of how much, I think he's got the potential. But I think it was me that said to you, I mean, he looked like he could get 8 and 8 like somebody else. So, I mean, if you put him out there in the start lineup right now, I don't see why he wouldn't get 8 and 8 and average 1.5 blocks a game.
Yeah.
I'm
Pew
just saying,
pew pew pew
call,
pew.
call it what y'all want to call it. Call it what y'all want to call it. I mean, this guy can't get 8 points and 8 rebounds and 1.5 blocks a game right now. I think he could.
He looked like he got potential. I agree.
I and I have a bad feeling that you gonna see Ariel. I know that sounds weird, but
by necessity. I know what you're saying.
yeah, I have a bad feeling you're
I
gonna
know
see
what you're
Ariel. It's
saying.
not that it's gonna be a bad thing for him, but just what it means.
You know what it means.
More pew pew pew. I
No,
like that you guys are respectful about it though, because I know
Yeah,
how I feel
yeah,
about my guy. You
Yeah.
know. Oh, what about the freshman?
Okay, so now you had nicknames and stuff. I got a slogan that I don't want to use, but it's already ready. He already earned. It's damn Dottie. Like
Damn, Daddy.
he already got me to that point. He got to get he got to earn it. You know what I mean? Like
You
they
know,
say.
I mean, it could be a double entendre too. It don't have to be it could be negative or positive.
It
You
could
know what I
be.
mean? It could be damn, or it could be like damn. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. I'm concerned about these Frenchmen, man.
I hate.
All of them.
I hate.
All of them.
I
All
hate.
of them. I don't care who they are. If they're drafted first, second, third, all these Frenchmen, they just look like they're not comfortable. I think, they're coming. I mean, and that's fair. Like, that's something that as fans, we kind of overlook. We used to guys playing here. They used to playing here in the States. They're coming from where they're used to playing and coming over here. This is different. I mean, yeah, it's fun, but it's also you're away from home, you're away from family, you're away from everything. It's different. I think these guys got to get accustomed, and they also got to get over that stigma of being the Frenchman. Like these Frenchmen come over here, and everybody's like, "Oh, first thing, oh, he's from France, he's French, he's soft." I mean,
especially here in New York. But go ahead.
right. So you got to get over the stigma, right? And then, as I've said this before with other young players on the Knicks, whoever's on this coaching staff, whether it be Dice, not Johnny, Mark Bryant,
Mark.
Daddy Brunson, whoever it is, whoever they got to talk to these young guys and build up their confidence out the gate. Don't be letting these guys slowly have their confidence waver. Keep continuing to build it up, because there's no reason. We saw some really good things from Daddy as far as how he was moving out there on that floor. He got some good defensive principles. He's got some athleticism. His cutting skills are fantastic. I watched, and I didn't see, I'm not going to lie and say I saw a whole bunch of that in the summer league. I was watching a video of him playing in France, and I saw the way he cuts to the basket. He's one of the best cutters I've ever seen.
Looks like a Nova player.
Yeah, you know what I mean? All he needs is confidence in that shot. His shot is just, and we already seen the dude can shoot. He just got to get the confidence. But other than that, I like his game. I do think he's raw enough that we ain't going to see him, though. If there's
Absolutely.
anybody who might get 2 seconds just to get his feet wet on the court, hey, everybody, and get out, that's him. But he ain't playing. He ain't playing a lot this year. Not at all.
To me, he's a testament to this front office, because one of the biggest perks off the jump, 18, just turned 19. You know what I mean? So super young. But the skill set fits, what I mean, what this team does. I agree with you. He's not gonna play. You know what I mean? He's gonna play in the G League, which again goes down back to this organization, because they run the same sets in the G League that they do here in with the big team. You know what I mean? It's like it's really a farm system for us.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think he can go ahead and learn and get the experience of playing in the G League. You know what I mean? But get the experience of watching with the big team and practicing with the big team. But yeah, I like his intangibles. First thing that stood out watching him in summer league was his defense. Like, oh, this guy is switchable. You know what I mean? Like, he has the size. Like, he's not gonna be a liability. Usually that's the first thing that you think is gonna be with a young guy, 18 years old at the time. You know what I mean? Or somebody from overseas. You know what I mean? Like, all the things, all the stigmas. That's like the first stigma. You know what I mean? Like, unless you Wimby or Gobert, like a defensive presence, and that's your calling card, like, you think that's going to be the weak point. And that's the first thing that stood out to me. Like, oh, he might be able to, you know what I mean, hold his own on the NBA floor defensively. Everything else is a work in progress. That'll grow over time. But it's just great to be in a position that we could get a first round pick that we have no expectation for, or we're not relying on him to be anything immediately. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's almost the philosophy we've had with some of these guys.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But us as the fan base, you know, wanted the young guys. It was play the kids. You know what I mean? For a large portion of the fan base, but these guys was learning the whole time. You know what I mean? They was figuring things out the whole time. And then when they got their opportunity under Tibbs, you know what I mean? They were ready to produce.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think they're following that same blueprint. We don't need you right now, young fella. You know what I mean? But we want you to learn right now. We want you to grow right now, get better right now. But when we need you, you're gonna be ready, even though a lot of the fan base hasn't seen you that much. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
gonna be
Yeah.
ready when that time
And
comes.
just for a young fella, before you get over to Shuttle, for a young fella coming to this Knick team, he looks like one of the best young like guys that we've ever gotten. You know what I mean? To be that young, he looks like he's got something that the Knicks can work with.
And it's not
Um,
standout. You know what I mean? It's not like,
yeah,
oh, come be a star. He he just has that. He has that 10-year. You know what I mean? 10-year plus long term NBA guy. You know what I mean? Like I don't think he ever. Now, granted, he's young enough that he can develop to be whatever he desires. You know what I mean? But he just looks like he could be a solid 10-year vet. You know what I mean? Good NBA career. Just based
and
on
and
those intangibles.
and he just turned 19, and I think he's 6'8", but he could grow. He could grow to 6'9", 6'10". What if he is Kevin? You know, dare I say it? What if he's Kevin Knox with better defense and a better motor? So, can and like one more thing before you get over the Shuttle, can I just put something up real quick, Tony?
Yeah,
This is your
absolutely.
show. I got the keys, but I want to be
Keys. You
respectful.
got keys, man.
I know. I still
Anybody
want to be
that got the
respectful.
keys, the heads up. That's good.
So because East Blue Drew said something, he said nobody can build your confidence but you. But let me tell you one thing right now: other people can tear down your confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And all these young players, they're not built the same. Some of these young guys that they need a little bit more loving as far as mentally in order to fulfill where they need to get to. Eventually, when you get in the league, and I know what I'm saying is I sound like I've been in the league. I noticed as I'm getting old, I be talking like that, like about you know what I mean? No, but as when you and this is a life lesson. So you can apply it to being in the NBA or working a 9 to 5. When you start off doing something in a new situation, you're always going to be feeling yourself around and seeing what you can do, how comfortable can you be, and you know what can you do to show out and get people to look at you. I just think that he has to get to the point where he's got to take his lumps and understand that I'm now a professional basketball player. I'm here for a reason. My game is this, and my shot is good. I think that's the biggest thing for these French guys. My shot is good because some of these French guys can't be, they're just not shooting. These guys is not scoring. They're looking crazy out there. That other Frenchman who's a top 3 pick,
SARS.
he had a game. SARS had a game with 0 points. What? Like, okay. Anyway, you get where I'm going. I just want to throw that out there. But I hear you. The confidence does have to be built up from within, but certain players need a little bit more love. You guys all know that we had a guy on the team. He told you point blank after a game where he dropped 40 points in a meaningless game at the end of a season. His name was something sounds like Roppin. OB needed that love.
But not just confidence. I mean, opportunity. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not about confidence. Sometimes it's about opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, yeah, a coach can build your confidence. You know what I mean? The good coaches know how to manage personalities. So part of the coaching is, you know what I mean? You can't coach. I can't coach Ron the same way I coach Shuttle, the same way I coach this guy. You know what I mean? Like I got to know what I can say to Ron that's gonna uplift him, but the same thing I might not be able to say to Shuttle. You know what I mean? He may take that personal and want to fight me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the next guy I may have to like I may be able to be brutally honest, and that's what he needs. You know what I mean? He don't want nothing sugar coated. You know what I mean? So I think it's about managing personalities. Ultimately, it is self-confidence, but you know what I mean the people around you and the people who have, I don't want to say control, but yeah, control of, you know what I mean, when you can play, how long you can play, like that influences your confidence and what you're able to do.
Yeah,
So it's about the situation too.
different stuff for different people. Like Emmanuel Quickly. Tibbs could curse Emmanuel Quickly out. Take it on the chin. All right.
Yeah, somebody else you might not. You know what I mean, that might put them, that might make them in a sunken place.
Yeah.
Shuttle. Anything you want to add about damn Daddy 8?
I like his motor, and I like that. I know Ron mentioned about supporting him and building up his confidence, but I feel like that he told you on draft night where he stands with his confidence level, and he went out there and played. Oh, word, Miller. Okay, you the guy. Okay, I'm gonna D up against you too. So I don't really feel like I don't really feel like confidence. Like kind of what we dealt with maybe like the Frank Ntilikina's of the world. I don't think that that's going to be as much of an issue for him. I mean, time will tell, but I like where he's at on the confidence level.
Well,
Uh, and
I
and
didn't mean. I just want to tell you one thing, Shota. I don't want to cut you off, but I've noticed that too, and I'm with you. But I do know that was the first game. In the second game, he looked pretty. By the third game, he missed. He took a couple shots, and then I saw his hands on his hips, like he was frustrated. Like, why is this shot not going in? But I hear you. I just want to say, over time,
yeah,
it
well,
could
I said
waver a little bit.
time
Yeah,
will
yeah,
tell. Time will
yeah,
tell.
yeah, yeah.
The inner mind's eye, leaders of the new school. I gotta go back. I gotta go back to your archives on that one. Yeah, I mean, what time is it? What time is it? So time will tell, but I think he's exuded the confidence, and I think that he's on a team where there's not really any expectations from him, and you've got veterans that are comfortable in their skin and who they are, and are the type of players. Forget about the coaches and everybody else. The Brunsons, the Dantes, the Mikal Bridges, the OGs, the guys that even play his same position. He's with guys like you have the running backs room. Now, when he's in the meeting in the room with the wings or whatever it might be, you know, he's with guys that he can build with that can really give him the cheat codes and this is the angle you got to take. He's in with two defensive dogs. So this is why he needs to be on this team, not in the G League. Actually, respectfully, Ron, I need him here, learning from these guys more than I want him in the G League.
I mean, one thing that's good about it is, he could go. We seen it with Deuce. You can go down there and still be back for the night game. You know what I mean? Even if you're not playing, you know what I mean? Like you could experience teaches. You know what I mean? Like he can do both. Is what I'm saying. One doesn't negate the other. You know what I mean? So he could get the playing time in the G League, and then the you know what I mean, the on hand learning from the eyes view from the bench. So
And he's going to get that either way because remember, even if he does, oh wait, no, he's not a no. He's
signed.
definitely going to get. He's not a two-way, so he's
No,
going to get it more than anybody else. More than the two-way guys anyway, because he's going to be with the team more. But I do think that it's good for him to be able to go down to the G League, keep working on his offensive game, and get them shots up and feel confident
get
there.
that
But as
confident like
far as
Deuce
learning
did.
how to play all around and be a good teammate and play good defense. Learning with Mikal and OG is going to turn that kid into a beast.
I mean,
So
and that's what Deuce did, right? He had a stretch in the G League. You know what I mean? Where I mean, I wasn't even watching him, but I was reading the comments.
I
You
remember.
know, and the comments was like, "Yo, Deuce is out here scoring 35 a game." You know what I mean? Like
Nah,
he needs minutes. He needs this. You know what I mean? Like
he was treating the G League like those was the Suns.
Yeah.
so you know what I mean? Like if he could get that confidence down there, that's only gonna help him. You know what I mean? So I think both is needed. You know what I mean? He get that he get that work ethic, that learning on hand with the home team, and then go utilize it down down in the G League, go beat them up. You know what I mean? Because most of them aren't getting that. They're
I ain't
not
gonna
getting
hold
that
you. I ain't gonna
firsthand.
hold you, Tom. I had that experience as a sophomore. I played with the varsity. I practiced with the varsity, and when I got my DMPs, which was plenty of games, I went and I played with the JV, and
Busting it.
I was killing them.
You know what I mean?
Y'all don't know. I just had to sit on the bench the whole game. So y'all gotta get this work.
And there you go. I'm gonna end it. We went well over, you know what I mean, my anticipated time, but that's just because we was having great conversation. Appreciate everybody in the chat tuning in. Any last words for you guys?
Nah, man, I'm really excited, really happy that finally we get to see the fruits of all this work of this organization finally getting it right, putting us in the right direction. And this should be a really fantastic season. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Thank you, Tone, for having me up here. Good to see you, Shuttle, as always. Stay tuned. Next Monday, I got Carmelo Anthony in the. No, I'm just joking. That's my bucket list, though. Don't sleep, though. Don't think I'm not trying.
You gotta put that energy out there.
Yeah. Oh, if you get Carmelo, you need to text me. What do you need me to ask Carmelo? Because I definitely got a few questions for my man Stay Mellow. But no, I do want to say anybody who hasn't checked out the Alan Hahn interview on Still Knicks Fan, go check that out because it was dope. It was insightful. I only asked 2 questions, you know what I mean, or talked about 2 topics that was discussed. So there's plenty for you guys to you know what I mean, go get some insight on that we didn't touch on here. And Ron, man, you and your brother John and Jose keep doing your thing. You know what I mean? Like it's inspiring. I'm glad y'all part of the team and I'm a part of, you know what I mean, working with you guys because
Appreciate you,
y'all
man.
keep
Thank
me
you.
on my toes, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
Shuttle, what you got going on?
Oh man, well, definitely first want to give a big Yo Blackest Tom shout out to the chat. How you like that? And definitely want to salute Ron, man. When when you start these platforms and you want to do something and you want to you want to like make your mark, when you start to get some of the heavy hitters that come on your platform, I know it feels good. Just like it feels good for me when I DJ with this DJ or that DJ, or I'm doing Ghostface album release party. You know what I mean? So I know what it's like to start climbing that ladder, and definitely embrace that moment and use it as inspiration to continue to do even bigger and greater things. MBK family, is nothing but supportive and wanting to see everybody have that level of success and even greater. So, as they say, don't hate, congratulate, and,
Right.
it ain't nothing but that right here. So, much success can continue to you, man. Because I'm gonna do as I always say, I'm gonna be great. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be great. All aboard. Blend Alert Volume 2 mixtape on the way, dropping August 16th. I got to get you in the loop with that, Ron. I don't know if you see what's been going on yet, but we're gonna put you in the loop. We got 20 bangers dropping August 16th. All blends,
Oh,
R&B,
wow.
R&B and hip hop. You might get a couple of bonus tracks on there. Tone's got a sneak peek. Tone's got a sneak peek into what's going on. So we're gonna get you in the loop.
Nice. That's dope. I'm loving to hear that, man.
And you
Listen.
can get your DJ Shuttle flash drive.
Custom flash drives. You heard, Ron? That's what we're doing.
See, sometimes it's good when you get a little caught up and busy and then, out the mix and you find out, your partners is doing some stuff. I love it. All right. Yeah, man. But once again, I appreciate all y'all, man. Listen, my mantra, whenever I tell people that I'm rocking with, especially people in this community that we got, man, keep glowing and keep growing. That's what we all got to do. That's the mantra going forward, man. I keep pushing.
Oh, that sound like the Knicks is following that same mantra. So you know what I mean? It ties right in
Yeah.
because they definitely glowing and they definitely growing. Um, yeah, man, I agree though. This is probably my most anticipated Knicks season ever, and I feel like I've said that 2 or 3 times under this regime. You know what I mean? So it's just showing that they continuing to do more and more things. You know what I mean? Surprise me a little bit more, and it's so meaningful knowing. I mean, y'all know the name of the channel. It's a reason I named it that. Things was not good when I started this channel. You know what I mean? Like,
Uh-oh. Tony gonna have to do a name change. We're gonna need a channel name change.
nah. That's this. You gotta remember where you started. You know what I mean? You gotta remember where you came from. So it's never gonna change. You know what I mean? But it made so much sense when I started the channel. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and to know times is so much different. It feels so good.
It's a
It feels so
beautiful
good.
thing. It's a beautiful thing.
But yeah, we're gonna get out of here, man. Shout out to the chat. Appreciate you everybody tuning in. Shout out to the replay gang. Shout out to everybody who stayed to the end. And I'll see y'all in a couple days, man. We'll be back with more content. Yo, Black is time. We out.
Latest.